So, I finally calmed down after watching that episode of Shigatsu. I just finished the Saikano review, and I was just, taking some time to process my mind on the events of Shigatsu. So, I just wanted to make a video dedicated to reviewing Shigatsu, or kind of like my final thoughts of the series. That's exactly what I want this video to be. Because I know not everybody is going to want to watch the live reaction, because they might not notice the ending part that has my thoughts about the ending of the series. So, I'm going to kind of do a review, but this is going to be my final conclusive thoughts on Shigatsu. So, this will be the definite finale of my Shigatsu videos. So, one thing though I want to point out, I've been kind of lazy. I haven't wanted to move my camera or anything, because I've been just processing my thoughts after the ending conclusion of the recent episode. And so, yeah, I decided to just, do it here. So, anyways, Shigatsu as a series. I want to kind of just do like a season review. That's kind of what I'm going to be doing in this video. Not just entitled to the final episode. Shigatsu in general, as a series, It's a series that surprised me. Like, I didn't expect walking into Shigatsu as a watcher of anime. I looked at the tags, and I've said it many times through the course of my journey of the reviews. I've said, the tags said music, slice of life, romance, and that's what it was. And you don't realize the other hidden tag, the tragedy tag, until you get to the halfway point into the series. Shigatsu surprised me because, even though it had music as its main focus, it kind of shifted more over into the role of a coming-of-age story, or a character trying to learn to move on, walk on his own 2 feet, and find his new light to move forward. And that's kind of what it symbolized in the final episode. See, the series in general, I know there's going to be a lot of half-and-half people when it comes to Shigatsu. There's going to be some that either A, they absolutely love the fuck out of Shigatsu, and they instantly fell in love, and they're going to say like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10, there's going to be massive people that are going to, like a lot of people are going to say this is an amazing series, and you should rate it that high, which I agree, I'm one of those people. But there also is a side that some are going to say that maybe Shigatsu isn't that good. Now, as always, when it comes to a series, there is issues. Every series has its issues. No series is perfect. No matter how amazing it is, how breathtaking it is, and how much of a masterpiece you think it is, everything has an issue. My favorite series, Spice and Wolf, has issues. Every series does. And Shigatsu also has issues. So, I want to take a little bit of moments to bring up some issues with Shigatsu, and then I will get into my final thoughts of the series. So, I noticed a lot of complaints when it comes to certain things in Shigatsu. One of the main complaints I see when it comes to Shigatsu is the tone shifts when it comes to the comedy. That is one of the biggest issues of Shigatsu, I have noticed. Thus, reviewing the series weekly, that's the only thing I've actually seen from watchers. Now, I don't know how manga readers are, but from anime watchers of Shigatsu, the main complaints they have is how the comedy is used. Because there's at times the comedy is added into the scenes, and it feels like it just shouldn't work, because there are scenes that are very tragic or very sad, and all of a sudden you have comedy placed in, and it just does not feel right. It doesn't suit that given moment, that given scene, or the episode's theme entirely. And so, those are one of the biggest complaints I see when it comes to series, in which it makes a lot of sense. I do have to agree, I do see those issues when it comes to Shigatsu in general as a series. And that's one of the main reasons why I would say I do have a problem with the series. But mainly comedy is subjective, and when it comes towards comedy, it just really comes down to your taste in comedy. Now, the only time I really had an issue when it came to comedy was when it was used to kind of be a budget saver. That's when you knew the comedy was bad. Like, I mean, the comedy in general might not have been bad because it's subjective, but there was scenes when the comedy was used, mainly those scenes were used just to save budget. That's what I personally felt was wrong when it came to comedy, because all the comedy scenes, majority of the comedy scenes when it came to Shigatsu were budget savers. Because you'd either have chibi modes and stuff like that that made it to where the budget was trying to be saved, or just some scenes that just felt very awkward when it came to the animation and art style compared to the other themes of the episode. I feel like that's what really made people notice the dramatic tone shift, stuff like that. I think it's because A1 Pictures decided to change the animation art style in these comedy moments, and it jarred everybody when they got used to this certain art style that's serious, and all of a sudden you see this comedy mode, and you're like, what the fuck? It just jars you. It really does. And I know. There's good examples in anime and manga that have stuff like that happen. And so I feel like it's mainly the way A1 tried to use the budget. How to save budget is why it caused so many people probably not to like those comedy segments. Besides, you know, your subjective taste in comedy. So, at the end of the day, you can't really judge the comedy moments, but you can say that the animation in those scenes were quite bad. Because the way they shifted at some given moments in the series, it just did not feel quite right. Now, one thing I will say too, past that, the biggest issue when it comes to Shigatsu is the characters. Because there's a lot of characters in the series, a lot of characters in Shigatsu, and sadly enough, about 99% of the characters do not get development. Like, there's a lot of characters, and majority of all of them just got shafted to the side, which happens quite a bit when it comes to anime or manga. It happens all the time in series. I've seen it quite a bit, and Shigatsu had a bloated cast. It really did. There was a lot of characters that helped support Kosei, our main male character protagonist, through the journey of the series, but at the end of the day, they didn't get that final tie or bow tie on their character development. There was a lot of characters. Majority of every single character was like that in the series. The only character by the time the series ended on the final episode that got development and kind of conclusive development was Kosei and Kaori. Those are the only two characters who had development. And I know some would argue and say, isn't that the only thing that really should matter? Shouldn't it matter just because Kosei and Kaori got their development and the series over? Should we just be happy with that? I understand that viewpoint, I understand. But there's a lot of characters that were very interesting, and they helped progress the series to a given point. Like, without some of these characters, Kosei and Kaori would not be at the point they were at the end of the series. And it's sad to see how the mangaka kind of just casted them aside in the finale of the series. That is my major complaint when it comes to the series in general. But if I can look past that, the series is damn good. It really is. So let's get into my other thoughts of the series. Get into the good moments now that I got past the bad. Shigatsu is a series that will shock you from start to finish. Like, if you can look past the comedy and you can look past some of the characters kind of being shafted, you will really enjoy the ride. If you love romance, music, and slice of life stuff, or anime and manga, you're gonna love the series. But if some things when it comes to tone shifts and characters really bug you a lot and can ruin a series for you, then that would mean you probably will not like Shigatsu. But if you look past that, you will see a good series, because one thing that really makes Shigatsu shine in my eyes is the uncliche ending. Usually when it comes to a shoujo, shonen, or whatever, usually when it just comes to a series in general, in anime or manga, the main female character, main male character that's probably sick or gonna die or something for the majority of the series usually gets healed. Usually gets healed or is fine. And that surprised me with Shigatsu. It took the uncliche route. And I respect that. I really, 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 really respect that, because there was a lot of death flags, and of course it was very obvious she would die. But majority of mangaka would still try to keep their characters alive, and I respect the mangaka for actually taking the initiative to killing off Kaori at the end of the series. And I feel like that's what really raised up my final rating of the series. See, I was going to rate Shigatsu about probably an 8 out of 10, or maybe an 8.5 out of 10, one of those two. But after the uncliche ending, I had to raise it up to 9 out of 10, because that ending alone satisfied me, just because of the way it was done. It concluded Kaori's character, and it got the main point across when it came to Kosei as a character, and I feel like that's the only real thing I wanted when it came to the series in general. Kosei to move on his own 2 feet, his own 2 legs, and move on, and play the piano. That's what I really wanted to see when I started the series. That's what I wanted to see. And my goal, or what I wanted to see from the series, was answered. It was finished. It's done. It's wrapped up. And I'm like, that's all I wanted. And so, that's one way I'll say it. Also, the main point of anime is to entertain. That's one thing I will say. The main point of anime, or manga in general, is entertainment. To entertain us readers or watchers of a series. And did Shigatsu fulfill this need when it came to me as a watcher of the anime? Yes, it did. It entertained me from week to week where I wanted to come back for more and more. And that's all. That's all I'll say. That's what I'll say. It was a very good series that entertained me, and I would definitely recommend, and I would give it a 9 out of 10. That's just my opinion. So yeah, this is going to conclude my finale review of Shigatsu. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or not wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.